my daughter
Yes.
and her friend that she just met today.
Okay.
And I have no idea who you are, but I'm happy to be here.
My name's Andy.
Andy,
You've got a name tag that has my name on it.
my name's Phil McCracken. I'm good.
Nice to meet you,
But
Phil.
what advice can you give my daughter and her friend
Yes.
to succeed as a woman?
Yes.
You've made it, and I'm very proud of you. I think it's great, and I like your music.
Thank
I just
you.
heard you over there. It was incredible.
Thank you.
And I'm an old school dad,
Yes.
so I like it, but I want advice for young women today.
Okay.
Something that they can understand from you to succeed.
Yes. I would be remiss if I tried to give my understanding of the plight of a young woman.
Try me.
Given that I have not had to experience that, the only thing I can say is from my perspective as I was once a young man and continue to be. And one day I'll be an old man. And I'll still be here on Warped Tour. Yeah. So look, regardless of gender, I think the truth is that there is. You know what? I will try to speak to what I perceive. What the plight of young women, particularly in the music industry, is, and that is unfair. I have been around female musicians for years and years. I have been around females in every capacity. My mother has a lot of sisters. I grew up around women predominantly. I have seen a lot of injustices, and I've been around. My wife is a female musician in the scene. I know that it can sometimes be more difficult, and so you just have to have bigger balls than the guys do, I think. And that's really the truth of the matter, is you have to push harder, because whether it's fair or not, where we're at in terms of our society, that's still more difficult for women. And I'm very fortunate that I am a man and that I got to do this. And I do have luck on my side in that capacity, but it doesn't mean that I'm any better. In fact, I'm certain that you're better at a million things than I am. And so just work hard, and again, have bigger balls than the guys do.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm Jade.
Hi, Jade.
I want to know, is it different performing solo than it is performing with Black Metal Brides?
Well, yes, I'm doing different songs.
Yeah.
So that, right off the bat, different.
Is the energy different?
Certainly. I mean, I being in a band is like being in a marriage in a lot of ways. I've been in a band with the same guys for a decade, and we all know each other and just about everything about each other's like poop schedule and what we eat and like everything, because we spend every day together. When you're on the road for 9 months of the year, there's a bit of an unspoken language, and that can be great and awesome and really fun when you first start, and then there's like the middle section where you're like, what is going on? Like, we're together all the time. I want to see one other person today. Because, well, let me explain something. When you're on tour, everything happens to all of you at the same time, right? So there's nothing to talk about. Hey, this crazy thing happened. I know, I was sitting behind you. Everything happens to all of us. So there can be a time in the middle of your career where you're kind of like, oh my God, like, we do everything together, and then you kind of go home and you're not necessarily like calling everybody up like, hey, do you want to hang out some more? We just spent 8 weeks together in Germany. Like, you're kind of doing different stuff. And so the realization that I believe you have to have is the love that you have for those people, and the love that they have for you, and the connection that you have, and the art that you make together. And that's what pushes you through, not unlike a marriage where you know the commitment and the love that you have is the most important thing. Even if, 40 years into your marriage, you're driving each other nuts and you're walking to the grocery store together with walkers and yelling at each other like you see the kind of cartoon old people. I think that being in a band, we're like cartoon old people. We certainly have our little things that we bicker about, but the band, we are so far past fighting because of how long we've been together that we just have, we speak in inside jokes, and everything is kind of, it's just known. We have an unspoken relationship, and we hadn't seen each other in a while, and we got together and we did a photo shoot maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago for the new record, and it was as if we had just picked up and had seen each other 3 days prior, and we had all the same jokes and all the same fun, and it's just a different relationship than anything I can describe. So the reason I tell you that is that for my solo stuff, it was like developing that from the beginning. It was just restarting with that. My drummer Bo has been on every Andy Black tour that I've done. I've toured with Mike, my bass player, in this before he played with my wife previously, and Pat, my guitar player, has done a handful of tours now, and that's building a new band with new guys and new personalities, and it's a lot of fun because I'm not 17 anymore, and I'm still egotistical, but I'm not the most egotistical person of all time, like I was when I was a teenager. And so I can understand where I went wrong in the early days of the band, and I can avoid those things now. And it's not a band in the sense that, you know, we all are in it together and everything, but we do go on stage every day and we have fun together. And while I wrote the material that we're playing and it wasn't a band effort, they give their all on stage every day. So there are differences, but there's also similarities. You know, when you go on stage, regardless of the vibe, you're saying, we're going to perform these songs and entertain these people to the best of our abilities. That is the connection, and that's the vibe always. So whether it's a band you've been in for 10 years or it's people that you've been around for a year or 3 months, you're hoping for the same thing regardless.
Hello.
Where are you?
I'm here.
Hello.
I'm Casey.
Hi, Casey.
First, I want to say thank you for the advice you just gave to all these young ladies, because having bigger balls is definitely important.
Sure.
So thank you for that. My daughter's right here, so
I'm glad to hear that. It's the only time I've been asked to give advice about what it's like to be a little girl, so it's all right. I think I did all right. No, I'm not ripping on you. I think I did okay. I like giving this. Oh, good. All right. Good. Thank you, sir, by the way. I appreciate that. It's a new question. I like it.
My question for you is, what was your biggest musical drive? Like you mentioned the Misfits and stuff like that. Like, what was your biggest
influence or drive to do it?
When you were younger, like drive to want to be.
Coming here, seriously, I was talking to my booking agent recently, and I was telling him that a lot of people complain about how grueling Warped Tour is. It's very difficult. You know, it's 54 days. We have about a handful of days off. We're on a stretch right now where we go 20 shows without a day off. I haven't showered in a long time. Like, it can be difficult. But I would come to Warped Tour in Cincinnati when I was a kid, and I would look at the people on the other side of the fence walking to their buses or riding their bikes, and I would think, that is all I want to be. I want to be on the other side of this fence. I want to be on the other side of the fence and then walk up to the stage and get to go on stage and perform, and that would be the greatest thing that could ever happen to me. And I can never get to a point where I complain about this tour for that reason, because it is truly, I've done it a handful of times now, and it's a dream come true for me to get to do this. It's a dream come true for me to get to do any of it, because all I wanted was to be like the bands that I loved, whether it was, you know, the Misfits or Alkaline Trio or Tiger Army or AFI or any of these bands. I wanted to be in that position. I wanted to be on the cover of AP. I wanted to be on Kerrang. All this cool stuff that I've gotten to do in my life was my biggest dream. And now that I've been able to achieve a lot of that, this is all just an opportunity to you know, keep pushing forward. Now I get to do movies and all this other stuff. But it really all started here. Going to what's called Riverbend in Cincinnati, and I didn't have black nail polish, so I Sharpied my fingernails black. And I wore my t-shirt and I put eyeliner on, and there was actually a young kid here today who reminded me so much of me when I was that age. He was probably 10 or 11 years old, and he was kind of heavy set, and he had thick eyeliner on and kind of had his hair all spiked up, and I was like, it's fucking me. Like, that's what I when I was that age. And it was, you know, getting to meet guys in bands where, you know, you don't know when you're young that not everyone is the same level of, you know, like, fame. It's just anyone who had a guitar on was like, holy shit, I met a guy with a guitar on today. Like, so it's just, that's the motivating factor, is to, I've gotten to do this, and I'm just so fortunate.
Who's your go-to band?
Alkaline Trio is my favorite.
Okay. All right, thank you.
There's a lot of face paint. I don't know that you can specify that way.
Hi, I'm
Hello.
Kai.
Hi, Kai.
Jordan and Kenny. By the way, they were the big babies at your show. They got lifted up.
Oh, okay, you were the biggest babies? Okay,
Biggest
all
ever.
right.
Absolutely.
There was a very small baby.
So Andy, if you look around you, you don't exactly have like the pervy crowd, the popular crowd. You have people that are not afraid to be themselves.
Sure.
So it's tough though to be a teenager, to be a kid, and really be yourself when you're not like everybody else. So what advice do you have for kids who aren't afraid to be themselves but still struggle with fitting in?
Yeah, that's good though. The ability to look at other people who are doing something stupid and go, I'm not stupid. That's the greatest thing you can have. The song that I have, They Don't Need to Understand, is literally about that. It was always this belief that I would go home at the end of the day after getting shit all day for how I looked and what I was interested in and go, well, fuck them. I don't care. They don't get it. It's fine. I'll be out of this eventually. The truth of the matter is that all of it ends eventually. You can choose the people that you want to be around. The high school bully, the college bully, whatever it is, doesn't follow you forever if you choose to kind of go a different path. And so the biggest advice I try to give people is if you have that part of you that is willing to kind of put your middle finger in the air to convention, follow that, keep that, because if you lose that, you might go on a different path. I'm not advocating that people do dangerous or harmful things because they're different, but if you're doing something that's healthy and happy for you, and it's not hurting anybody else, then that's a great thing to have. So popular or not, interesting or not, intelligent or not, if there's something about you that you like, then that's worth holding on to. Hello.
Hello, I am Alexis Labasco.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm Will.
I just wanted
I saw you during the show, by the way.
Yeah,
I saw it, yeah.
I had a fun time. I was really
Me too.
happy. Yeah, you really made my day.
Thank you.
You're like a hero to me.
Thank you.
How do you go through depression?
I don't know that anyone that struggles with something like that it ever really fully goes away. I think the kind of lie that's fed to young people is, well, when you get older, it'll all go away. And the truth is, I don't believe that. I believe that you either learn to harness it and deal with it and use it as something that you can learn from and understand about yourself, or you can fall into the trap of just being someone who's always in that low point. I would be lying to you if I told you that every day I walk around and I'm just like, fucking everything's great all the time. Because I go through bouts of just bummed out for no reason. I've done records where I wasn't particularly happy, and I think that it shows. The best songs I've written were ones where I was not in those moments, but rather be out of them and able to reflect back on those moments. So I was someone who I self-medicated because of my anxiety and depression and everything else. I didn't want to take medication the doctors gave me. I wanted to do my own thing, and I didn't want to do what I thought was right. And then as I got older, I realized that I was just using alcohol as a way of basically doing the same thing, which was numbing myself. And so for a long time, I drank very heavily, and I wrote songs that weren't that great. Some of them were great, some weren't that great, and I kind of lost track of who I was as a writer and an artist. By the fourth Black Foot Brides record, I don't feel I did a very good job on a lot of the songs. There's some that I'm very proud of. Others sort of feel like Mad Libs. Feels like I just took things from other songs and sort of placed it in because I didn't know what the hell was going on. When I was writing that record, I was drinking a bottle of something every night, and then I'd sit and write lyrics. And it was a way of coping with those feelings of sadness. And it didn't really work. It made me feel worse, and I realized that I needed to make a change. And so now it's been well over a year that I've been entirely sober, and I think it means a lot to me to be able to think again like myself and to feel those feelings. The first, I will say this to you, 6 months after I totally stopped drinking and stopped fucking myself up was the hardest time for me, because those feelings that I hadn't felt in the longest time came back like an old shitty friend. And like, hey, I'm back, like, you wanna fucking just wear sweatpants all day today? Like, and so I had to learn to deal with that again. And so I started writing again, and I started thinking critically of how I could deal with things and how I could get through stuff. And I said, okay, well, I need to change my lifestyle. I need to be healthy. I need to start eating better. I need to start working out every day. I need to get to the bottom of why maybe I'm feeling bummed out and shitty. And you'd be surprised what eating well and drinking enough water every day does for the body, seriously. Because I look at pictures from like other world tours and I look like I'm 48 years old and I was like 10. Like, just like... There's a great picture that people think I'm crying in, and it's just because I'm hungover. Like there's a picture where I'm in like a baseball jersey and I have really big bags under my eyes and my face is all red, and I see it posted all the time where people are like, oh, poor Andy must have cried because a fan said something mean. It's like, no, I was just super hungover that day. And that's not what I want. People are like, you look so great now. Yeah, because I have enough water in my body and I'm not poisoning myself. So a long-winded way of answering it. be able to confront things, look at it in the eye, and see that it's not you, it's an element of you, and if you want to turn it away, it doesn't have to control you. The demons and the dark things inside of you don't have to become everything that you are. The things that you like about yourself can be the thing that you really take and run with in your life. Thank you.
May I give this to you?
Sure. Sure, come on. I'm gonna get in trouble for it, but maybe. Thank you so much. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Very good. I love it. Thank you. I'm gonna put it right here. I hope I can have it. I hope you don't take it back from me.
Hi, Andy.
Hello.
Hey.
How the hell did the microphone get over there so fast?
Couldn't explain. I have a question. What would you say to people who are bullying other people, and what would you say to the person who is being bullied?
Physically?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's difficult because I think generationally, when I was a kid, I played sports as a kid, and that was my way of letting out aggression. I played hockey and football, and that was a way of, even though they fucked with me, I always laughed. I was the only kid who's like mascara ran underneath my helmet. It was a way, even though I wasn't in the jock culture and I wasn't accepted by those kids, it was an opportunity for me to kind of have a little bit of toughness and show a little bit of aggression in a healthy way. I can't advocate that you put on shoulder pads and drive into someone who's bullying you. So the truth is, you have to. I'm not going to advocate violence, but I would advocate intellectual violence in the sense that you get really, really smart and learn how to kick their ass with your vocabulary. I've tried to do that my whole life, and it makes it difficult to have a conversation with me where you're trying to beat me in some sort of debate because I know a lot of words. And so, honestly, just work on your mind, because you will get away from those people, and if they're really hurting you, tell someone that can stop that. But if they're just coming up to you and they're talking shit to you all the time, learn how to beat them with your mind.
I'd like to say thank you so much for saving my life. I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for the music.
Thank you so much for sharing that with me. This is the last one? Well, why don't you tell everybody that? Now I have to announce the sad thing. Apparently this is the last question. I'm sorry. All right.
Hi, Andy.
Hello, sir.
I just have a question for someone who's trying to go through like changes throughout getting older.
Yes.
Like their personality, the way they want to look, dress, and going in public, and people trying to like treat them like shit all the time.
Yeah.
What the advice we give, like with you, like going from like Andy 6 to Lightning Thunderstein.
Sure.
To
You know, I wasn't that. I didn't dress as that in public, right? Like I didn't go to school dressed as Lightning Thunderstein.
No, but it was funny.
Yeah. Thank you.
That was my question.
When I was in high school, so I went from being, for a very brief period, I went to an art school that I loved more than anything, and then I got kicked out, so that wasn't that great. But during that time, I went completely apeshit with how I dressed. Like, I would match my eyeshadow to my shoes every day, like full, like, green fucking suit, and like I would dress like the lead character in A Clockwork Orange every day with like white with the eyelash and a cane spinning around, and like I was the craziest because I love the idea of expressing myself in this way. And I would get so much shit like all the time. Where I grew up was not super friendly to like crazy artistic avant-garde types, and so I'd get so much shit from people about the way I looked, and it just became so. I was so angry and defensive all the time, and I'd get so mad, and I'd be, oh, fuck you, and like the truth of the matter, like, I'd be wearing like a feather hat and like whatever. Like, what, are you looking at my hat? Why are you looking at my hat? And I just became so callous and defensive that I no longer was enjoying my own aesthetic. And I think that's, you have to remain positive about yourself, and if someone says something to you, then just laugh it off, because otherwise you can turn into what I did, which is just yelling at people from stage all the time because they flipped you off one time. Like, don't do that. Try to be better than me and let yourself have fun, and don't become callous and angry. I'm trying to do that now, hence my ridiculous shirt today.
I love it.
Thank you so much, guys. I really had a lot of fun. I want to do one more question because I like to go against the rules. She's going to choose, though. Yeah. Is it okay that I'm doing one more? All right.
Hi, Andy.
Hi.
I'm Shania, by the way.
Hello. Oh, there's a fucking bug. All right.
First thing
don't mean to bum you guys out with the last question, but I'm going to tell you a story because I do think it's important. I think it'll answer your question. I tell this story often at these classes because I think it's a way of maybe it helps paint a picture for you guys of the entire touring community and how difficult it might be to be away from things. I'm very lucky that I get to do this. I'm not someone who complains that I have to be gone all the time, but it also means that I had to change elements of my life and how I felt about things to deal with being gone. When in 2012 we got to do a tour where we opened up for Motley Crue in Europe in all these soccer stadiums, and it was this incredible experience. It was one of the first times that I had a cell phone that worked in Europe, that I could communicate easily with family. It really wasn't until the last 2 or 3 years that you could bring American iPhones over, and companies, even Verizon and stuff, only unlocked those very recently to where you can use them pretty easily, let alone now you have companies that won't charge you extra. It was very, very expensive back then to communicate. And I had then a girlfriend who I just started dating the summer prior, Juliet, my wife, who I didn't get to see very often, but I wanted to have communication with. I had my family who I'm close with, so I had to have some way of communicating with them. I had a phone that I didn't want to use very often because it was very expensive, and I happened to be sitting in the front lounge one night of the bus, and we're driving through Switzerland, and I'm on this tour where I'm opening for Motley Crue. It's a dream come true. It's so amazing. And I saw that my phone had gone off, and it was my mom's number came up on the phone, and it was like 2 in the morning where I was, and I thought, I don't want to waste the minutes. I'm tired. I'll call her tomorrow morning. You know, she's not going to be mad or anything. I'll call her tomorrow morning. And I didn't think anything bad could be happening. And the truth of the matter is that was very close with my grandfather. In the end, is about his death. And that time when my mom was calling me, she was with my grandfather as he was dying, and that would have been my last opportunity to speak to him. And I missed it because I was in Switzerland and not thinking about it, and on tour and living this dream, and that was difficult to come to terms with. Stuff like that can be very difficult when you're away from your family and away from the things that you're used to. For the first 3-4 years that Juliet and I were together, I would only see her for weeks at a time. I would spend 9 months of the year on the road. That can be very difficult. So I think that the number one thing for anybody that's interested in going into touring is to understand that you're going to live a different kind of life. You're almost in a traveling circus. You know, you're in a different vibe, and that appeals to a lot of people. There's some people who don't have family and don't have a lot of connection to home, and they want to go off and live on the pirate ship. And I get that. It's been a difficult dichotomy for me because I've always been kind of I'm an only child. I'm very close to my parents and I, my wife, and it's difficult for me to be away. So the older I get, I tour less because I want to be able to experience my family. But the truth of the matter is, that's my job, and I understand what it takes to do it, and so I will continue to do it, and I hope you guys continue to come to shows because I like being there and singing there for you guys. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you coming out today.
Okay, guys, remember what I said about the end of the class. Now we're going to do this group photo, right? So what we're going to do is everybody's going to stand up, and this gentleman in the blue at the back with the shirt like mine